Hello, good evening. It's News 360 coming to you live from the News Hub here at Adesawe Kanda. I am Portia Gabor.
And I am Martin Asiedu-Dartey. Let's bring you the headlines for the next 1 hour.
News 360 Headlines is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint,
Pepsodent Charcoal and Pepsodent Herbal,
EcoBank.
National Disaster Management Organization NADMO urges residents in low-lying communities of the Bagre Dam to relocate to higher ground for their safety.
And also coming up tonight, police intensify security in Sola and Biniri in the Savannah region following communal clashes.
Later in the bulletin, Oti region battling surge in typhoid fever cases with more than 10,200 confirmed infections recorded in the first half of 2025.
In business news, financial expert warns removal of capital threshold for foreigners could disadvantage local investors and worsen profit repatriation.
And on the international front, France returns 3 colonial-era skulls held in a Paris museum to Madagascar 128 years after they were taken away. We are live around the world on 3news.com. We are also streaming on Facebook, and we love to hear from you. So let us hear from you on your message session.
The news now in detail, and following the announcement by Burkinabe authorities to undertake a controlled spillage of excess water from the Bari and Kompienga dams, authorities in the Upper East region, led by the National Disaster Management Organization, are stepping up emergency education efforts, urging residents in low-lying communities to move to higher ground for their safety. Our Upper East regional correspondent Castro Sanyala has more in this report.
On Friday, 22nd August 2025, Ghanaian authorities received an official communication from Sonabel, Burkina Faso's national electricity utility company, regarding the annual controlled spillage from the Bagre and Kompienga dams. According to the communications, the current water levels are nearing critical thresholds, with the Bagre Dam at 233.99 meters, reaching 86.38% of its full capacity, and the Kompienga Dam at 177.66 meters. Burkinabe officials have warned that the effect of the spillage will be felt within 48 hours in Ghana, especially along the White and Black Volta rivers, putting communities and farmlands at risk of flooding. Each year, this controlled spillage wreaks havoc in low-lying areas across the Upper East, Upper West, Northeast, and Northern regions, destroying crops, homes, and vital infrastructure, and deepening the vulnerability of rural communities reliant on agriculture and fishing. In response, the National Disaster Management Organization in the Upper East region has launched intensified sensitization efforts, urging all residents in low-lying zones to move to higher grounds to ensure safety.
The situation for now is calm. Everything is under control. So we are here with our local divers, our DVGs, and that of the zonal coordinators to ensure close monitoring of the process. We have also been able to engage with the farmers, the fishermen along the White Volta River here. We have been able to sensitize them effectively on the need to immediately evacuate to higher grounds or to safer places.
One of the worst hit areas, year after year, is the Boku West district, especially Sapelega, where the confluence of the Bagre and Kompienga dams lies. Local farmers have suffered repeated losses, with investments worth thousands of Ghana cedis washed away. The district chief executive, James Ayamwego, has cautioned farmers against risking their lives to harvest crops in the flood waters.
We came to advise the people, the farmers, and to be aware of the situation and then take precautionary measures and follow the laid down protocols that we are given as part of our education, so that we don't encounter with any situation that may be difficult for us to manage.
As local authorities led by NADMO continues its efforts to reduce the impact of the devastation this year, the chief of Sapelega, Naba, Abangba, Ayagba II is calling for long-term solutions to a problem that returns every year.
But all the same, they should do well and also see to us. The government to see to us. It's everyday dance that they are dancing. They are saying nothing. We're all happy they've done that. Or else, after the damage is done, you're given a cap. A cap cannot use to feed yourself, neither your family.
In the Upper East region, the spillage is expected to affect several districts, including the Boko West, Benduri, Boko Municipal, Nabdam, and Telensi districts. From the Boko West district of the Upper East region, Castro Senyala, 4TV3 News.
And so we keep fingers crossed to see what in the coming days we will be hearing from government now that there is a promise that the Pualugu multipurpose dam will also be constructed. So we'll keep an eye on the Bagri Dam spillage and update you subsequently. Away from that though, let's go to the OT region where very disturbing news is coming in, which is that the OT region is battling a surge in typhoid fever cases with over 10,000 confirmed infections recorded in the first half of 2025. Health officials say the outbreak is being driven by poor sanitation, inadequate waste management, and limited access to clean drinking water, putting several communities at risk. Data from the Regional Health Directorate shows that 4,417 cases were recorded in the first quarter of the year, followed by 5,816 in the second quarter. In response, a sanitation task force has been launched to lead cleanup operations, improve waste disposal, and roll out safe water initiatives aimed at containing the spread. In a minute, we'll try and get some connection to find out what exactly the community members, the leaders, opinion leaders, and chiefs are doing to stem the tide of this increase in typhoid cases. Very disturbing that over 10,000 citizens within the OT region have been affected by typhoid, and as it stands, it largely has been blamed on issues of poor sanitation and maintenance of insanitary activities of some of the residents there, and that has made it a major health concern. So hopefully we'll try and get some update regarding this. But if you are in that region and probably know someone who's been affected, or you have been affected yourself, in the comment section, do let us hear from you what exactly the locals themselves are doing to forestall or at least slow down the spread. So far, 10,200, we are told, have been affected by typhoid, a clearly preventable disease. So why is it that in 2025 we are recording not one or two, but in excess of 5,000? So that is the major concern that we have at the moment. We'll try and get some connection and get an update on it for you.
In more news tonight, the Aircraft Accident and Incident Investigation and Prevention Bureau, AIB Ghana, is fighting back claims they are failing at their job. The Bureau says they have prevented multiple potential aviation crashes and still counting. Although the AIB Ghana is not mandated to investigate military aircraft, approval has been granted to be involved in the ongoing investigation into the recent Z9 helicopter crash claiming 8 lives. A report by George Queenan.
We are not only active when there are accidents, but we are equally working behind the scenes to prevent potential aircraft accidents. A worried commissioner of the Aircraft Accident and Incident Investigation and Prevention Bureau, AIB Ghana, opened the press briefing on one of their core mandates. John Imboti said, although they are not mandated to investigate military aircraft, approval has been granted this time round to investigate happenings which led to the recent Z9 helicopter crash.
We are not part of Ghana Civil Aviation because we are to investigate what they do And so we are an autonomous and a separate institution. We don't investigate military aircrafts. And this incident that happened, like I said, we will only do that when we have an approval by the sector minister. And so this particular one, AIB Ghana is part of the investigation because we've been invited to use our expertise. And so AIB is fully represented.
The commissioner also revealed that the purpose of such investigation is not to apportion blame, but rather avoid future occurrences.
That is why you don't often see aircraft accidents. They are flying every minute in Ghana. But because of the recommendations that we do, that is why they correct all the mistakes that might have happened. Then that is where we don't have we don't incur, or we don't happen to see more accidents happening. And so when we finish with our investigation and we give the recommendation, we follow up to make sure that they implement it.
A retired pilot and investigator at the Bureau, Captain Retired Paul Fodro, assured that the report will be truthful and transparent, imploring the general public to be patient and allow the board to work.
A lot of investigative work has been done, and it's been done very professionally. We're going to, together as a nation and with all the various agencies, we're going to build up on all of that. And at the end of the day, I would just plead that we all be a bit patient.
Yeah.
Let's let the results come out, and I believe it will be a truthful and transparent thing, and the public will be happy that they waited a bit. But to rush, it would confuse the issue.
AIB Ghana is a national agency responsible for investigating, regulating and preventing aircraft accidents and incidents in Ghana.
In more news tonight, financial mismanagement among government agencies has seen a jump in the last year, especially payroll fraud, which saw 300% rise from 14 million cedis in 2023 to 57 million cedis in 2024. The Public Accounts Committee has demanded stricter measures to deal with the increasing financial infractions captured in the Auditor General's report. Deputy Finance Minister says a staff at the Accountant General's Department is under investigation for related offences.
We've come across some allegations of payroll-related fraud issues that we have asked the investigation agencies to investigate. Fortunately, because these things are done on the system, it is even possible for us to see who activated somebody, who deactivated the person, and all that. There was one that went viral recently about someone who complained that I think a teacher also name was taken off the payroll. Somebody assisted him to get it on, and the person was demanding a lot of money from him. Because he did not pay, they went ahead and removed his name from the payroll. We have taken serious view of this, and it is being investigated. Fortunately, Controller knows the person in the Controller office who activated, who deactivated, but a lot more information need to come out for us to know what really went on and for the appropriate punishment to be meted out. And so the Finance Minister takes serious views to some of these things, and he's asked that we have an in-depth investigation into it. We will apprise the general public of whatever the outcome is. And as Controller said, the public should be free to come forth with any information that will help us nip this trend in the bud.
Let's now go to the Savannah region, where the Inspector General of Police is leading a high-level security delegation to the Solotuna Kalba district after deadly communal clashes there. The clashes were over disputed lands, forcing hundreds of residents to flee for safety. Fresh attacks last night prompted regional officials to tighten security even in neighboring communities. Christopher Mwaku joined the IGP and his team and joins us now for more. Christopher, thank you so much for your time. What can you update us on news on the communal clashes since the IGP's arrival?
Yes, so Portia, as we speak, the Inspector General of Police, together with other top military officials, have been meeting with key stakeholders here in the Sola-Tuna Kalba district, where the land dispute claims some lives, injuring several others. Now, his first port of call was at the Regional Security Council, where he met with them and had a discussion with them on the security arrangements. From there, he moved to the palace of the King of Boja, Yabomura Bikunuto Jewusole the first, to also have a briefing and an interaction with him. From there, the team moved straight to Sola, where they met with the Solaura and also had some discussions with him. Then, currently, as we speak, the team is in the Kalba area interacting with people. Portia, let me say that the conflict that started on Sunday, there are some escalations here in the Sola-Tuna Kalba district, because previously it was only the Gweniri community, but now it has escalated to several other adjoining communities. Now, earlier today, when the security personnel in the community escorted some people to safety, by the time they returned into the community, the chief's palace was burnt totally to ashes. And that is how severe the conflict is, even though police and military are trying their possible best to calm the situation. Right here behind me are several hundreds of people who have fled this conflict zone to the Sola community for safety. For the past 2 days, these people have been here. Some of them have not even eaten. Others have not taken their bath. All they are saying right now is that peace should prevail for them to be able to go back to their communities for life to continue. Portia.
Christopher, does this mean that more people are still fleeing despite the police deployment over there?
Yes, Portia, I can say that even though some security police presence is in the area, but I must say that it's not enough to be able to control the situation, because other communities are also recording this conflict. And so once the police are at one place, another place, the conflict is taking place. And so the police have to, or the security agencies here have to split themselves to also cover the other communities that are affected. There are several calls for intensified police presence and also more police deployment to the area. As we speak, the IGP and his men are in the area and also assessing the situation. Probably after that, the IGP and the Savannah Regional Security Council will deploy more security into the area, because the situation is not looking too good. Portia.
Christopher, just before you go, are NADMO officials also there to give aid to victims?
Portia, come again.
I'm asking if NADMO officials are present in the community to give relief items or aid to the victims.
Okay, so I've not cited any NADMO official here, but what is happening right now is that the Ministry for Gender, Women and Social Protection, through the Ghana School Feeding program, the social protection aspect of it, they have prepared some quantities of food to supply to these affected people here. And so pretty shortly they will be distributing the food. They have arrived here. I've just cited them. They have brought the food in large quantities to also supply from the Ministry for Gender, Children and Social Protection.
Christopher, thank you so much for your time. Christopher Mwako is our Savannah Regional Correspondent.
Now let's take a step back to our earlier story having to do with the increase in typhoid cases being reported from the OT region, where we are told in excess of 10,200 individuals have been affected by this ailment. We do have the Regional Environmental Health Officer Cynthia Sechere joining us to update us on what exactly the immediate steps are to at least prevent the further spread of this unfortunate incident, or the spread of this disease, we're told, in the OT region. So, Madam, a very good evening to you. If you can hear me, can you give us an overview of the current typhoid fever case in the OT region?
Thank you very much for the opportunity given me. I take the opportunity to also greet your dear listeners. It is true that OT region, being one of the newly created regions, is currently having a high prevalence rate of typhoid fever of about 10,233. I must say that last year review meeting from Ghana Health Service put the Regional Coordinating Council on its current state of which we have to take decision to address this communicable diseases, more especially with the typhoid cases as a result of poor sanitation practices. And so as part of it, we were able to identify the contributing factors, and we saw that we need to have a task force to enforce the law, because we have intensified hygiene and health education across the region continuously for about 6 months, and still some people are still not responding to good practices of sanitation. They throw it anyhow. There is inadequate, improved, and resilient household latrines. We don't have potable water, and for that matter, we decided that, look, let us bring on board the enforcement of the Public Health Act, the Criminal Code, and the bylaws that we have from the various MDEs. And so enough have been done when it comes to hygiene, education, and awareness.
Right.
And we are picking on board strongly with law enforcement from Tuesday.
So that was actually the question I was going to ask, that if 6 months into the new year, you are recording in excess of 10,000, how long ago did you start these public engagement and awareness creation, that although that is in place, we are still recording over 10,000 people infected by a disease caused simply by filth?
Okay, so that comes back to law enforcement. We realize that enough has been done when it comes to sensitization, but yet still we have recalcitrance. And therefore we took the resilience planning approach to assess our status as a region, and we recognize that, look, enough has not been done when it comes to law enforcement. Last year, for instance, the whole of the year 2024, we were able to serve 19 court sermons. Out of the 19, only 8 complied with the sermon.
Right.
What happens to the rest? And so it's why the REST Fund, that's the Regional Environmental Health Task Force, has been born.
Okay.
And with this one, we are going to make sure that gap, we are going to enforce it to complement the hygiene education that we've been talking about.
All right, Madam Cynthia Sechere, thank you for your time this evening. She is the Regional Environment Health Directorate in the OT region.
In more news tonight, 8 persons who assaulted Mavis Hawakumsen, a former Minister of Fisheries and Aquaculture, and 2 others during the Ablekuma North rerun elections have been convicted by an Accra Circuit Court. This was after they had pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit crime, to wit, assault and other counts of assault. The 8 persons include Mohammed Abubakar, a private security person, Jijani Mahmood, a driver, Prince Jatbasu, a businessman, and Anas Mohammed, an estate developer. The rest are Mohammed Hamda, a mechanic, Dako Otibu Samuel, a businessman, Musa Muntari, a station manager, and Ali Said, a businessman. The accused persons were convicted on their plea, and the court deferred sentencing to Friday, August 29. The accused persons who are on police enquiry bail were granted a court bail in the sum of 80,000 cedis with one surety each.
President John Dramani Mahama has expressed confidence in Ghana partnering Singapore's Institute of Technology to understand local experiences in higher education. Speaking earlier at a business summit, he outlined 5 areas of possible investment, including agriculture and education, where he expects Singapore to tap in.
The president told Singaporean investors that Africa is the fastest emerging market and Ghana is prepared to serve as a gateway, taking into account the country's current economic gains.
Africa and Singapore must be champions of open markets, trusted rules, trade rules, and practical partnerships that deliver jobs, technology transfer, and shared prosperity for our people. I speak today as an African leader and as president of Ghana. And our message is simple. Africa is investable, and Ghana is your reliable gateway to that continent.
Trade between Africa and Singapore rose nearly 50% in 4 years to $14 billion, with Ghana-Singaporean trade reaching over $215 million in 2024. Addressing the business community at the 8th African-Singapore Business Forum, the president assured the island Asian country to turn its focus to Ghana amidst global uncertainties. Singapore's minister in charge of trade relations said the visit by the president should be a catalyst to increase trade and bilateral relations with the two countries.
You know, as you're saying in Africa that you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go with your friends. So look beyond the familiar. Let us not just Africa and Southeast Asia as separate markets, but as complementary engines of growth.
He later visited the Singapore Institute of Technology.
Deputy Presidential Spokesperson Shamima Muslim says the suspended Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonu must follow due process and trust institutions to deliver. Speaking at a national dialogue on the implementation of Ghana's affirmative action law, she encouraged women not to be deterred by public scrutiny, but step up confidently into leadership and governance roles.
Every female that is in this arena, they will always receive a disproportionate amount of scrutiny. And so that cannot be a deterrent for those who still want to serve. CJ Tokonu has not been the only female Chief Justice that we have had in this country. When in doubt, I say follow the law and due process. That would always be your best alibi. As for every individual that is facing a certain legal process, you have the right, even a duty upon yourself, to defend yourself and to seek all avenues to defend yourself. And I think that the Chief Justice has opted to use all the avenues at her disposal to try and tell her story. At the end of the day, we must trust the same institution that she headed to do right by Ghana, by her, by the office. You understand it? And so I would not say that because of 1 or 2 examples, Charlotte went through similar thing. She's doing great things now, isn't it? So there will always be some level of challenge. Sisi Ladapa, she must go through her own. So women in public office must also now learn how not to get yourself in the public eye, so that when you get the opportunity, you ensure you cross your I's and dot your T's.
Now, Media General's Godwin Asedeba's trailblazing journalism continues to open doors beyond the newsroom. Days after being named the winner of the 2025 BBC Komla Dumor Award, the investigative journalist and anchor was hosted by the British High Commission in Accra, where his work was hailed for accountability.
Following his historic win of the 2025 BBC Komla Dumor Award, investigative journalist and anchor Godwin Asedeba was received by a joint team of political, governance and communications at the British High Commission in Accra. At the meeting, the team commended Godwin for his outstanding body of work, praising his fearless commitment to impactful journalism that amplifies marginalized voices, exposes injustice, and sparks meaningful change. They noted that his achievement goes beyond personal success as it reflects the power of journalism to strengthen dialogue, understanding, and collaboration between Ghana and the United Kingdom.
The High Commission has been doing quarterly media roundtables. We host at the residence. We talk about like a particular, topical issue. The last time we had a conversation like that was on the issue of Galamsey ahead of World Press Freedom Day. But we'll rotate through various issues. So again, when you're back in country, because I think the next one will be when you're away again in the new year. It'll be good to try and get you to be part of that.
The British High Commission expressed optimism that this milestone could open new doors for building stronger ties between the two countries through the lens of storytelling and responsible journalism.
It's really looking ahead to the relationship between the UK and a country like Ghana that we see as a very sort of progressive, modern partnership. No longer aid-dependent, but more about how we can work together to promote trade, development, and also international issues.
Godwin reaffirmed his dedication to telling stories that matter, stories that make impact, and stories that bring about change, emphasizing that the award is not an end, but a call to do more for communities whose voices often go unheard.
I just have some sort of love for the job that I do, and I yearn for results as well. I grew up in the northern part of the country, and some of the things that most of these people go through, are experiences that I've also walked through. So growing up to this level and still realizing that such things are happening, I feel I can just use my power as a journalist to tell such stories. You're telling this story not just for people who are highly intellectual. There are people who haven't been to school. You need to tell it to fit into every angle. So once you humanize it and you allow the people to tell the story, everyone can get to relate to it, and then you get the results that you're looking at the end of the day.
Congratulations once again to Godwin. It's the crossing of the legs for me.
Big up, Godwin. Big up yourself.
We have more news coming up shortly. Do stay with us.
I am Michael Obodu. Now, the policy rate of the Bank of Ghana is expected to decline further in September 2025, following July's significant cut as favorable crop harvest and cedi gains sustain disinflation. Research firm IC Securities says the move could ease lending rates and lower the cost of borrowing, even as the banking sector shows signs of recovery.
The Bank of Ghana could reduce its policy rate again in September 2025. That's according to IC Research, the research arm of IC Securities, which projects that favorable crop harvest and the strengthening cedi will sustain the downward trend in inflation. It believes these conditions will widen the real policy rate beyond its current 11.3%, paving the way for another cut. A reduction in the policy rate is expected to translate into lower lending rates, easing the cost of borrowing for businesses and households. In July 2025, the central bank slashed its base lending rate by 300 basis points to 25% after inflation eased to 5 consecutive months. IC Research notes that the Monetary Policy Committee appears optimistic about the possibility of single-digit inflation by the end of the year, although uncertainties remain around a potential utility tariff hike in the last quarter. Meanwhile, Ghana's banking sector is showing signs of recovery. The industry's capital adequacy ratio improved to 18.2% in June 2025, driven largely by government capital support to the National Investment Bank and ongoing capital restoration by private banks. IC Research, however, warns that asset quality concerns may still require regulatory intervention despite the progress made.
Now, to more stories, the chief executive of Dayless Finance has raised concerns that the removal of the capital threshold for foreigners could have negative repercussions. Joe Jackson argues that the announcement by President John Mahama has the potential to disadvantage local investors, as they will be unable to compete with foreign businesses favorably and lead to repatriation of profits.
The proposed amendment to the Ghana Investment Promotion Center GIPC Act aims to make the country more accessible to all investors, regardless of the size of their capital. The current GIPC Act 2013, Act 865, requires foreign investors to meet specific capital requirements such as $200,000 for joint ventures, $500,000 for wholly foreign, and $1 million minimum for a trading company. The proposal is to abolish all the thresholds for foreign investors. Joe Jackson argues that this could open itself up to an influx of foreign businesses with cheap capital and make local business non-competitive.
And just maybe we could have done a sector by sector approach so that we could look at, do we want to do this for the traders? Maybe you want to do this for investment in factories and plastics and agro investments. But do you want to do this also for trading? Are we not making it even more difficult for Ghanaian businesses? And these are real questions. We're looking forward to that debate in Parliament as they try and revise the GIPC law and see and listen to the arguments that will be made. But obviously, some of us are worried. Maybe a sector by sector approach.
Joe Jackson warns that this could worsen the country's repatriation situation, where profits earned by foreign companies are sent out of the country and ultimately put pressure on the cedi.
We should also look at repatriation. If I bring in just $5,000, how much am I going to be able to repatriate of my earnings that go outside? If I bring in $5,000 and earn $10,000, can I take all the $10,000 out? And those are questions we have to ask, right? The intention is good. The benefits can clearly be seen, but sometimes we have to look at the policy very carefully.
This move highlights the ongoing challenge for policymakers to balance the need to attract foreign investment with the imperative to protect and nurture local businesses and maintain macroeconomic stability.
Now, GCB Bank PLC has hinted of plans to extend operations beyond the borders of the country. Board chairman of the bank, Professor Joshua Alabi, at the quadrennial delegates conference of the Professional and Managerial Staff Association Union of the bank, said the bank has operated successfully for decades here in Ghana and has a strong foundation to expand operations internationally.
Our intention, like the Deputy Minister said, that we should go international. And like I said, we have identified that. So our plan now is to go to Liberia, Sierra Leone, the Gambia, Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali. All we need is a strong base home before you can move outside. If you don't have a strong base home, you can't go and do anything outside.
The Quadrennial Delegates Conference, which was held in Ho, presented an opportunity for the various union members and staff to reflect on key union issues. Outgoing PSMU chairman Kamil Mohammed Ismail said the bank's enviable success in the industry is as a result of its diligent and dedicated workforce.
GCB Bank is now the bank all other banks in the industry are chasing. Our product pipelines are pregnant with many more innovative solutions that Ghanaians will soon witness. No stakeholder, therefore, should take this enviable industrial harmony for granted. GCB Bank is not just a bank. It is a priceless national asset that our forebears bequeathed to us in order that Ghanaians and Ghanaian businesses especially can be guaranteed financial and banking services.
Touching briefly on the theme for the conference, which is strengthening the micro, small and medium enterprises sector for economic transformation in Ghana, the role of GCB Bank, Managing Director of the bank, Farian Al-Hassan, reaffirmed the bank's commitment to ensuring seamless access to credit facilities for the wider informal sector.
We've launched MSC Group Loan. We are pushing digital transformation with our new hub system. And we're even looking at innovations from Kenya to bring instant mobile loans to every market woman in Ghana. You can imagine the impact GCB would make today if the cocoa seller, the water seller can just go onto our app and access as little as 500 Ghana cedis.
Meanwhile, Deputy Finance Minister Thomas Ampenyako, while commending the bank for playing a pivotal role in the country's economic progress, announced further reforms aimed at boosting growth in the micro, small and medium enterprise sector.
We know that MSMEs face challenges due to regulations, especially with taxation. We are pursuing interventions to unbundle the regulatory burden. As a first-order priority, we are simplifying the tax system. Our promise to reform the VAT system is being worked on. We will overhaul the VAT system in 2026 fiscal year. In fact, we are far advanced in this, and the VAT amendment will be presented alongside the 2026 budget around October, November this year, and we'll pass the amendment and take effect with it.
We'll bring you updates now from the currency and the commodities market. And that'll be all for the business segment here on News 360. I am Michael Obodu. Thank you for watching. Up next, the sports.
You buy Sasso insecticide spray and coil.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the sports segment here on News 360 with me, Oreku Ampofu. We begin with Police Ladies, whose Women's Champions League qualifier campaign started on a rather disappointing note after a close defeat to former champions Bayelsa Queens. Despite the tough start, head coach Yusuf Basigi is confident his side can still turn things around when they face Samnelli on Wednesday.
In my day to will be different, because we need to go all out, because we don't have to leave any stone unturned for the fact that we need the 3 maximum points. So our approach in this particular game will be very, very, very serious one, because I know Samneri, they will want to draw with us, so they will be playing more of defensive to attack. And we also have that at the back of our mind, knowing very well that when you are defending, then you take on counter break, we know how to also counter you. So we are prepared for that. Actually, most of the players, especially those who have not tasted this kind of tournament before, they were a bit jittery. So they didn't settle on time until the second half, they started picking up. And this time around, hopefully, they will continue from where they started picking up. So it means that we expect maximum performance. The medical team are doing marvelously well to make sure they stabilize everybody. DJ Welfare is here, and they were always in communication and giving us a very high morale messages, and that's why we feel at home. Even though he's not here, we are feeling his presence here because he has this able rep here to, put things under control. So we actually feel at home.
Well, let's do some more here, where Madagascar booked their place in a historic first Total Energies African Nations Championship final after edging Sudan 1-0 in a rather tense semi-final at the Benjamin Mkapa National Stadium on Tuesday evening, with both nations seeking a maiden appearance in the Chan final. The game ended going into extra time with no goal scored in regular time. The game's only breakthrough came in the 116th minute when Rafa Nomenzantoa weaved into space before slipping a pass to Rako Tondriabe, who calmly drilled the ball into the bottom corner past goalkeeper Abuja. Madagascar now travel to Nairobi for Saturday's final, where they'll face either defending champions Senegal or two-time winners Morocco. Sudan, on the other hand, will play in the third-place playoff on Friday in Tanzania. Or you can get some more updates on our social media handles at 3Sports. My name is Oreku Ampofu.
insecticide spray and coil. Powered by 3 Entertainment.
For some entertainment tidbits.
The family of legendary highlife musician Charles Kojo-Fosu, popularly known as Daddy Lumba, has officially informed the government of his passing during a courtesy visit to Chief of Staff Julius Deborah. This forms part of traditional protocols for honoring a national figure. Daddy Lumba passed away on July 26 at the Bank Hospital in Accra. Born in 1964, he became a high-life icon with over 30 albums. His contribution to Ghanaian music spanned over 3 decades. A one-week observation is set for Saturday, August 30 in Accra, with final funeral rites to be held in Kumasi. Leo Nak's ex was released from jail on August 25 after pleading not guilty to 4 felony charges, including assaulting police officers and resisting arrest. The 26-year-old was arrested on August 21 in Los Angeles and briefly hospitalized for a suspected overdose. He posted $75,000 bail and is required to attend 4 Narcotics Anonymous meetings per week. A preliminary hearing is set for September 15. His legal team maintains the incident was out of character and the test results are still pending.
What be your name?
Yeah, Momo.
You debut.
If you get dough, I go fish show you noko.
Ghana's viral social media vibes is hitting the big screen, directed by AMVCA award winner Nicholas Nati, popularly known as Big Goon. Vibes the movie premieres on Saturday, October 4, 2025 at Silverbird Cinemas, Accra Mall and West Hills Mall. The original series, known for its mix of rap, comedy and relatable stories about Ghanaian youth, gained over 10 million views online.
If them bust your money when you see them for streets, them talk your matter when you catch them for streets, you for left farm, you for left farm.
Now, it's returned as a full-length musical comedy drama, capturing the same humor, music and urban energy that made it a nationwide hit. More than just a film, Vibes the movie celebrates a generation's creativity and the journey from social media stardom to cinematic storytelling.
Wow, how we go get the celebs from the movie we they make? The celebs and the cost, they go fit come on board. How we go have the talent when nobody go support?
Boss who? You dey find actors? Mr. Fabi Celeb.
Who they talk to you?
Boy, I can't imagine.
That's a nice one there. Let's find out what's happening on the international front.
France on Tuesday returned 3 colonial-era skulls held in a Paris museum to Madagascar 128 years after they were taken to France, including one believed to be that of a Malagasy king killed by French troops. The skull presumed to be that of King Touera and 2 others from the Sakalava ethnic group were formally handed over at a ceremony held at the French Culture Ministry. France has sought to confront its colonial past by returning artifacts and human remains from museums to their countries of origin. This is the first restitution under a law passed in 2023 that facilitates the return of human remains from France's public collections. Trump has been pressuring the Federal Reserve to cut interest rates, a move which the U.S. Central Bank had so far been cautious to do, but that could soon change. Speaking to central bankers gathered at Jackson Hole in Wyoming last week, Fed Chair Jerome Powell gave a boost to expectations that there will be an interest rate cut in September. Economists and investors were already expecting borrowing rates to come down from their current 4.25 to 4.5% range. Recent weakness in the U.S. jobs market raised those expectations further, but the impact on prices of Trump's sweeping tariffs had raised doubts.
And that's it for our package this evening. Thank you so much for watching. I am Martin Asiedu-Dartey. Mind you, at 9 p.m. we have Agenda with Beatrice Edu.
And I am Portia Gabor. Do join Alfredo Cancer at 10 p.m. for Ghana Tonight. Good evening.